up, guys? So, continuing the Cannes Film Festival coverage, today's movie I'm going to be discussing is the latest film from James Gray called Armageddon Time, which is somewhat of an autobiographical memoir based around his experiences growing up. The film has some notable talent in it: Anthony Hopkins, Anne Hathaway, and Jeremy Strong, but the main character is played by a young boy called Repeta, who plays the protagonist Paul, a young Jewish boy living in New York City during the 80s. You guys might recognize Repeta. He played the young Frank in Uncle Frank, and he was also in The Devil All the Time. I didn't know too much about Armageddon Time going into it, but given the talent that was on display, I was keen to see it. But I'm sad to say, though, that this was probably my first disappointment of the Cannes Film Festival. I wasn't crazy about James Gray's previous film, Ad Astra, either. I found it a little cold for my liking, but at least with Ad Astra, there were elements of the craft which I really appreciated, like the cinematography, the score, the sound, the visual effects, and of course Brad Pitt's performance. All that stuff has stayed with me. But with Armageddon Time, apart from some decent performances, nothing about this film is really going to stay with me. I've practically already forgotten about it. Armageddon Time starts off on a protagonist, Paul, played by Repeta Banks' first day of 6th grade at a public school in New York City. He gets into trouble with his new teacher for doodling because he wants to be a famous artist someday. He forges a friendship with another class troublemaker called Jonny, played by Jaylin Webb. He's the only black kid in the class, and he's been held back a year. Over the course of the next few months, the boys get up to all sorts of mischief, like ditching a class field trip to the Guggenheim, to smoking a joint in the bathroom stalls, to stealing a computer. But as we see from this film, that actions have very different consequences for each of the boys because of their skin color. The film explores systemic racism and white privilege, and certainly shows the complacency of these characters living in an unequal society. But I never really found myself emotionally invested in the story or these characters. That's not to say that the performances in this aren't good. Props to Repeta for helming this film. Like, it's a lot of pressure, especially on a child, to lead a film, and he's a fine little actor, Repeta Banks, but he wasn't the most interesting character in this film. I actually found Jaylin Webb's character, Jonny, far more compelling, but the story is more about Paul rather than Jonny. And I think if the focus had been divided a little bit more evenly between the two of them, it might have actually helped me to get a little bit more emotionally invested in the story, but I really didn't feel anything by the time the credits rolled along. Anthony Hopkins, I love the man, but given that his character has a monologue about his origins, and he's been all over, they put particular emphasis on Liverpool, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense that his character still speaks in a mildly Welsh accent all the way through. It doesn't even feel like Anthony Hopkins is trying to put on an accent, so he's just shut up and doing his Anthony Hopkins thing. And don't get me wrong, he does bring a certain warmth to this film, which counteracts the heavier themes of the film. But yeah, it wasn't blown away by Anthony Hopkins' performance in this. Anne Hathaway is good in this, but at a certain point, her character doesn't have anything to do. Jeremy Strong was probably my personal favourite performance, and that's probably because his character, Irving, who is the dad of Paul, is the only character that gets any substantial character development. There's a lot of layers to his performance. At first, he just strikes you as this mild-mannered, dorky dad who, you wouldn't look twice at on the street. He's very unassuming. That is until Paul starts getting in trouble and there's this unexpected ferocity that comes out of him. There were a couple points in this where the dude was really scary. But yeah, he is the only character that ends the film in a different place from where he started. He actually learns and grows. I'm not sure I can say that about any of the other characters. And James Gray leaves a lot of the character threads left ambiguously open, like Anne Hathaway's Esther and Jaylin Webb's Jonny. And the ending I found frustrating. It's such a non-ending. I was like, wait, what? That's it? It feels like there's supposed to be 4 or 5 more scenes and you decide to end the film here? Okay. So let's ask them 3 questions. Firstly, would I watch this again? Nah, sorry, it's just not for me, this film. Question 2, do I recommend it for you guys? That's tough. Do I recommend it? The acting is good, but I just came out of this film cold, so no, I don't think I would recommend it. And third question, what score would I give it out of 10? I was very unaffected by Armageddon Time. The story left a lot to be desired, and the lack of character growth bothered me. I can see what James Gray was trying to say, but I just found it rather lacking. So I'm gonna give Armageddon Time a score of 3.5 out of 10. But as always, guys, just one Blake's opinion. I would love to hear your thoughts on Armageddon Time. Are you excited for this film? Will you be seeing it? If you have seen it, what did you make of it? Let your voice be heard in that comment section down below. And if you've enjoyed the video, hit the little thumbs up button for me. For more movie, TV, and Oscars related content, don't forget to click subscribe. And if you want to stay up to date with all my Cannes Film Festival coverage, be sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. All those links in that video description down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching, guys. For more things related to movies, TV, the Oscars, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Airfield, and I'll see you next time.